and good evening from Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. It is time once again for the Good Times with Coach show. I'm Brooks Hill, voice of the Binghamton Black Bears, joined by first-year head coach Gary Gill. Once again, the Black Bears are back in action Friday and Saturday night as they take on the Elmira Mammoth for the second time this season in a weekend series. And Coach Gill, what is the mindset going into playing a team for the second time this season, truly?
I think we're just excited to keep playing. It doesn't matter who we play. We want to get better every day, every week, and it's just another chance to do better.
You can talk about the opportunity to do better, and Elmira, quite frankly, yes, that you guys have seen them already this season, but they've added some new players and they've had some departures since we saw them back on October 14th and 15th. What is it like for a team in this league to go through like as many roster changes as Elmira has here, less than truly a month of actually playing games and trying to build a team chemistry and camaraderie?
I think, first and foremost, you got to realize that they're a brand new team. They started from zero, no players. So it's going to take a little bit for them to get the guys in the lineup that they feel comfortable with that can help them win games. They added a lot of players, and there'll be a different team this time when we face them. So
Elmira still searching for their first win this season. They fell in overtime to the Watertown Wolves 6-5 on Saturday night, grabbing their first point. Much like the Black Bears, is coming up a little bit short in the extra period on the second of two games in the weekend set. Let's rewind and take a trip down memory lane. We don't have to talk about it long, but the Black Bears took their first true road trip of the season, staying in a hotel overnight, leaving the state of New York, going to Danbury, Connecticut to take on the Hat Tricks. And last year, the Hat Tricks were able to best the Black Bears in the first round of the Commissioner's Cup playoffs. And one thing that I've learned about hockey, watching it as a kid, growing up, friends playing travel hockey in the Raleigh area, things like that, is you always tend to remember the teams that you match up with in the playoffs. And playoffs truly do breed rivalries from organization to organization across any level. Do you think that this weekend series against Danbury was a little bit more personal just because of the matchup last season?
Danbury's a good team, and of course, that rivalry is going to continue throughout this whole season. We're not done. We're not done with them. We still have some unfinished business that we'll take care of as we go down the season here, but we're anxious to play them again for sure.
Well, the next time the Black Bears will face off against the Danbury Hat Tricks will be on the day before Thanksgiving Eve, or just the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, November 23rd at 6 p.m. inside Vision Veterans Memorial Arena. You can get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, so make sure that you check that out if you want to see the next edition of the Danbury versus Binghamton rivalry. And, Coach, let's dive into the game sheet. First from Friday night, and quite frankly, right from the start, it seemed that Danbury had the jump. They were 2-0 going into the night. They would win the game 5-1. And by this count, 20 shots on goal in the first period. That's the most that any Black Bears goalie has seen in a single period. And I know that we had two goalies occupying the nets in the first frame. But what was it that Danbury just did early that enabled them to have so much offensive production in the first 20 minutes?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think that they did very much that we weren't expecting. We were making some mistakes that costed us early on. Turnovers at our own blue line or at the far blue line that comes back and haunts us a little bit. They're a good team. They're fast. They drive the net. We know that. But I don't think they did anything we weren't expecting them to do.
Black Bears would have a much better second period as the shot total was almost evened out in the frame. It was 14-16, still in favor of the home team. But you play that period 1-1, and I don't know how it varies coach to coach about moral victories, silver linings, things like that. But you played them even in the second period 1-1, and then the third period nobody scored, and the final result would be Danbury 5, Binghamton 1. But truly after what people would say a bad 20 minutes if you just looked at the box score, the last 40 minutes were played pretty even. It seems that you guys either fixed those mistakes or Danbury wasn't capitalizing as much as they did before. What was the message to the team in the locker room after the first 20 minutes?
It's time to put your hard hat on and pull up your work boots and go to work. We did have a little bit of bus legs coming off the bus for the first road trip, and at the end of the day, we just wanted to go to work and play the game the way we play the game, and the excellent result out of that is that we controlled the second and third period, or some of the second period and all of the third period. It was a pretty good battle for sure.
Well, 5-1, the final score from Friday night, and we can get ready to turn the page to Saturday. Just one thing, as I was going through my notes, looking back at the stat sheet, 6 fighting majors given out in Friday night's game. You told me before the game that you expected it to be a physical game, a lot of hits flying around, but 6 fights. Is that part of the expectation going into it?
I don't think that's ever the expectation going into it. I mean, it can happen at any time, and I like it, when fights happen, they happen organically, and we get in there, we bang some bodies, and like I said from the very beginning, we're a blue-collar team for a blue-collar city. We're not going to get pushed around. We're not going to accept that. That doesn't take anything from Danbury. That just says that's the way we're going to play the game. We're not going to bow down to anyone.
You talk about the blue-collar work ethic, and that's something that you've been harping on ever since we've been starting the coaches show here, and truly the first month of the season as we go through training camp into 3 weekends now of games, you guys have really put on that identification of, okay, the hard hat's on, you got to have your belt, strapped up tight, you're ready to go to work. Is it a hard message to communicate to the guys that when things aren't going your way, that, hey, you just have to trust yourself that the bounces are going to start going our way? Or is it more of, okay, hey, we're trying this, but now we're also going to turn our focus a little bit over here in this direction, and let's try, instead of X, we're going to do Y?
Well, I think there's constant adjustments throughout the game that you have to make. It's a chess match. You're trying to counter what they're doing, and then we try to go on the offensive on that. It literally is like a game of war. You got to figure out when to move and what to do when you're going to do it. So we made adjustments in between each period to get us to where we needed to be and get our feet moving and stuff. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we're prepared, and the message is we're going to face adversity no matter what game we're in. We just have to be able to handle that adversity and face it head on. Don't be afraid of it. Run right through it.
Well, you guys seem to do just exactly that when it got to be Saturday night. Less than 24 hours later, a much different style of game than what it was from night 1 on Friday to night 2 on Saturday. Get down after the first goal, and then you guys get a shorthanded goal is scored, and we talked about it last time on the coaches show about not to panic when your team gets a shorthanded goal scored against you, that, hey, just stick with it. And that's exactly what Gino D'Angelo did. And D'Angelo, who was not in the lineup Friday night, on the power play with a wraparound coming around the net and beat the goalie to the post. How big is it for someone like Gino to just seize an opportunity like that? Like, hey, you know what? You didn't play Friday. You're in the lineup Saturday, and you go out there and you tie the game as soon as we give up a goal.
Well, it's a game of opportunity, right? And when Gino gets out there, he works hard. He's a very hard-working forward who goes up and down the ice all day long with no complaints. He hits, he takes pucks to nets, he passes, he does everything you need him to do. And again, it's a game of opportunity. Gino wasn't in Friday night, but he came in Saturday, and there you go. He had his opportunity and made the best of it. Had a great outing on Saturday night for sure.
He looked like he didn't really skip a beat. You wouldn't have known that he didn't play Friday night by the way that he was stepping on the ice. He's out there killing penalties. He's on the power play unit. He plays good 5-on-5. Just a really remarkable story of, like, hey, this is your opportunity. Go out there, seize the moment. Ties the game at 1. And then a little bit of an unlikely hero, Matu Boislard, who we're going to talk to a little bit later on in the coaches show here tonight, ties the game at 2 with a little bit of what I called a leaky wrist shot on the air. I tried to go back and try to find a good angle of the replay, and I'll stick with leaky, but how big was it for a defenseman jumping in like Matu to just come in, tie the game at 2 in the final minutes of the first period?
Again, a game of opportunities. we have guys that are resilient and they step up and we make plays. And the whole thing with the defenseman is getting pucks onto the net. Anything can happen if you put it on net. And, Matu made a nice shot right there, got it right on net, went right in the net. And what more can you say? That's a bonus. When defensemen are scoring for you, that means good things are happening.
Matu Boislard coming back this season for the Black Bears, played in 34 games in the regular season last season, played in all 3 of the playoff games. We've talked about how much it means to have returning guys on the team this league, and the teams that typically do well bring a lot of guys back. And in the case of Matu and a whole bunch of other guys who are here in the restaurant here tonight, just how big is it for you guys to be able to have, some veteran leadership? Either it might not be the guy who has over 100 games played professionally or whatnot, but guys who have been in or around the league, they've gone to hostile environments like Danbury before. They can show people that, hey, calm down, just take in the moment. You have to go grab the moment. Don't let it grab you, as my dad used to say. That it's just how good is it to have somebody that you can rely on, like all these veterans, even though nobody right now is currently wearing a letter on their sweater.
Well, we talked about this before, veteran leadership throughout the team. And, Matu is more of an unsung hero. He doesn't lead by talking. He leads by example on the ice. Every time he goes out there, he does the best he can do. If a teammate's in trouble, he's going to make sure he jumps in and handles that. But the veteran leadership through and through is a great thing to have here.
And you talked about Matu not being afraid to step in when needed to. Matu also stepping up for a teammate on Saturday night, getting a fight altercation, just standing up for his teammate. All the guys on the bench, banging their sticks on the boards as soon as he doing it, skating off to the penalty box. Matu's a heavy hitter, stay-at-home defenseman, and has already tied his goal production from last year. So if he's only played in, I think, 4 games now, he's on pace for, I think, 8 more goals this season. So hopefully Boislard can continue the goal scoring availabilities. We're going to take some time and talk to him a little bit later on, as he's already becoming a fan favorite here in the restaurant. I've seen him take multiple selfies with some fans going around and signing some autographs, so all that's good. Let's skip ahead to the third period. You guys are down by 1 going in to the locker room, and we talked about staying on your game late in the game. Final 4 minutes, we'll back up 1 more minute. Final media timeout, under 5. What's the message to the team with only 5 minutes left up on the clock?
I think get the pucks to the net. Don't be afraid. Take the puck to the net. Get pucks on net. We'll get the rebounds. At one point we were down 4-2, and to come back and score 2 goals to get us to overtime, it was relentless. We were just never say die. It's a never say die atmosphere in this locker room with these guys, and that showed through and through again. Down 2 goals again, and we battle back, make it 4-4, and then head into that overtime frame. But it's all about. You got to be ready to play every shift of every game, and if you leave us an opening and an opportunity, we're going to take it.
And Nikita Ivashkin did exactly that. He scored the game-tying goal with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to go on the clock, and it was a true follow-up opportunity. Threw a puck to the net, a loose change out in front in the slot, and that's something that Danbury had done such a good job of the entire weekend that I wrote down in my stat book. Is Danbury was taking the opportunity, and they were getting free space in the slot. They had a lot of good shots on goal. But to tie the game, to make sure that Binghamton wouldn't come home empty-handed without a point to show for it, Nikita collects a puck in the slot and buries it past the goaltender, who was playing on back-to-back nights, and was able to send you guys to overtime. Second time you guys go to overtime this season, and the few times that I get to watch practice during the day in the morning time or the morning skate, you guys do work odd-man situations a ton. How often are you doing 4-on-3 scenarios? Because that's the situation that the Black Bears saw in the overtime on Saturday night.
Yeah, we take opportunities to work on a little bit of everything. We have priorities and our priority each week on what we're going to accomplish. We work on it, but at the end of the day, there's more pressing issues right now that I feel like we need to work on. A 4-on-3. I mean, it's quite simple. I mean, you're just gonna have to be tight in the D zone and make sure that you don't over pursue a puck.
Special teams was a big factor for both teams. Danbury went 1 for 11 on the weekend on the power play. You guys operating at a 93% on the penalty kill against the hat tricks. And while that's all good, unfortunately, the one time they did score on the power play was the overtime game winner on Saturday. You guys were able to get a point out of the game and keep a point away from Danbury. And we talked about it last time here on the Good Times with Coach show that every point's going to matter, especially when it's a divisional opponent.
Right.
And you need to, hey, we got 1. Yeah, we could have gotten 2. Maybe we could have gotten 3, but you don't want to hang your heads on it because you're going to get ready and face another team that's very desperate in Elmira coming up this Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, desperate team can lead to bad things if you're not prepared for them. They are it's like a dog. You back him in the corner, he might bite you. So we have to be prepared to play. This won't be a walk in the park. I don't think it'll be a 10-1 game again or a 6-2. I think in order for us to do that, we're going to have to work hard to get that kind of production again.
As Coach mentioned earlier in the show, a lot of new faces on the Elmira Mammoth squad. Some familiar faces, some former Black Bears on the team. And from a coaching standpoint, is there any worry, concern when you're going up against former players that, we might need to change this up because this is what we were doing with these guys and they know our system and they know the strengths and the weaknesses of it?
No, I don't think like that at all. I mean, I'm sure that they've talked about it, and, they're going to be a different squad, like I said. And, yeah, maybe they did go there and tell them, hey, this is what they like to run. But we have changed a lot since they've been gone, too. We have moved different types of forecheck, different D-zone, different power play. So we have a bunch of different things happening now. But even if they do know, they still have to, and that would go for us, too. Any team would have to make, you'd have to execute at a high level to prevent what we're doing. And we would have to execute at a high level to prevent what other teams are doing. So
one thing that I noticed this past weekend on the power plays particularly, and on Saturday night, power play goes 2 for 8, getting the tying goal at 1 at the time, and then the Jesse Anderson goal to make it 4-3 to make sure it was a 1-goal deficit going into the third period. One thing that I noticed was 2 defensemen on the power play a lot. And for fans who follow hockey, especially at the NHL level, a lot of times you'll see 4 forwards and 1 defenseman, and the defenseman's the so-called quarterback of the unit. For someone who might not know like a player or a coach at the professional level, what's a different schematic or a scheme that's going through your head when you send 2 defensemen out instead of just 1?
Well, if you looked at our power play, we have 1 unit with 4 forwards and a defenseman, and our second unit, or our 1A is what I call them, is 3 forwards and 2 defensemen. It just really depends on what power play you're running. If one might run an overload into an umbrella, one's running a 1-3-1 into an umbrella. It really just depends on what you're playing. We want to give different looks, so it's harder to compete against. You're expecting what their first unit comes out, what they're doing, and maybe they don't get to change. And now the next unit comes out and they're running something totally different. So, we try to mix it up a little bit.
You guys definitely did mix it up on the power play. A lot of bodies getting some extra man advantage ice time Friday and Saturday night for the Black Bears. What's the key for a power play when they go out running one scheme? Is it just moving the puck around as quickly as you can? Are you trying to get the defense to rotate? What are something that maybe a fan should look for that, hey, even though the power play didn't score, it was still a successful power play?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for, we want to see where the puck is, and we want to see if we can draw a guy out to us and create a 2-on-1. We're always looking for those 2-on-1 opportunities that maybe we can work high-low and work on that same guy. If he keeps coming out too high, that'll open up the wall for him to walk off the wall and take a shot. We're trying to make them move. That's the whole object of the power play, is get them moving, get them tired, and then work a 2-on-1 somewhere where we can get the puck on net.
I see it a lot at I would say professional, at the national level in the NHL. The few games that I do get to watch this year, when teams have power play unit, the broadcasters, the analysts, the studio host, all that talk about, the guys being on the right side of the ice, talking about their handiness, whether they're left-handed or right-handed. Is that something that you guys also try to implement down here at this level, or is it just like, hey, we're going to put the guys who can handle the puck the best and who can move it the best out on the power play?
So at this level, we it's basically the players, whoever we think can get pucks on net, because this year, unlike any other year I've had, we have more left-handies than righties.
Okay.
So we have to, we have to make sure we're kind of balanced left and right hand, and that's what they mean by right side of the ice. But I mean, sometimes we have 3 left-handers out there at one time, and you don't want that, but that's what we have, so that's what we do.
Well, you do the best with what the cards that you're dealt. You guys grab a point on Saturday night, and we leave the Danbury weekend in the past. We take a trip out to Danbury once again in January. I believe it's just a one-off in and out trip coming up in the 2023. That's when also Binghamton will be celebrating 50 years of hockey in the Southern Tier. The 50th anniversary jerseys have been sent in. They look great. I showed a couple of the guys today. Don't know if I'm supposed to say that on the air, but maybe Kirkby or Jurich can give some inside information on what the new jerseys look like to all the guys in the locker room. Not that I think they care what they wear or what they don't, but new jerseys coming in, I know that gets the guys excited, and especially that the next time that the Black Bears are at home, they'll have a specialty jersey for the entire weekend. It's Military Appreciation Weekend inside Vision Veterans Memorial Arena, while the Motor City Rockers will come to town. Both games at 7 p.m. All veterans and active military members receive free admission by claiming a ticket at the box office starting on Friday, or you can head upstairs to the 3rd floor hockey offices now, and our friends Bobby, Julia, and Kelsey can get you squared away with a free ticket on Friday, November 11th, or Saturday, November 12th. And Coach, as a former veteran, let's take a deep dive. And what does military appreciation mean to you and your family?
Well, it means a lot because I'm a former Marine. My son is now a Marine learning how to fly fighter jets, and he just, he graduated 2 years ago from basic training, and I don't think everybody realizes how important the military is to our country, and the men and women that serve this country means the world to me. And if there's any way we could help them, we certainly should do it. And that's not just including our active duty. That's our retired military. Gosh, we need so much help with our veterans now.
So just to reiterate one more time, Veterans Day weekend, 11th and 12th of November, all veterans and active military receive free admission to the Black Bears games against the Motor City Rockers. It'll be the first time that the Rockers come to town. They were trying to get into the league last year, but due to the pandemic, they delayed one more year, and now they are solidified, and quite frankly, they're doing a good job in the Continental Division. So far, got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but a good last weekend against Port Huron, and Motor City will be coming in to Binghamton trying to take 6 points away from the Black Bears. And on Military Appreciation Weekend, it'll be the Black Bears' job to send the Motor City Rockers home back to Michigan empty-handed. We're going to take a quick timeout here. We're going to come up. We're going to talk to Joe Shepard, one of the Black Bears goalies here tonight inside Tully's Great Food and Good Times. You're listening to the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few minutes after these messages.
Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Joe will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along with the Binghamton Black Bears on November 15th inside Tully's on the Vestal Parkway.
It is not too late to get season tickets for this season. Prorated season tickets are on sale now, along with single game tickets and group tickets. Call the front office for more details or visit binghamtonblackbears.com.
Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Joe will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along with the Binghamton Black Bears on November 15th inside Tully's on the Vestal Parkway.
It is not too late to get season tickets for this season. Prorated season tickets are on sale now, along with single game tickets and group tickets. Call the front office for more details or visit binghamtonblackbears.com.
Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Show will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along with the Binghamton Black Bears on November 15th inside Tully's on the Vestal Parkway.
It is not too late to get season tickets for this season. Prorated season tickets are on sale now.
Welcome back into the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. I'm Brooks Hill, now joined by Black Bears goaltender Joe Shepard. Joe, thanks for spending some time out of your evening coming out to Tully's and having a good time with us.
Appreciate it, Brooks. Thanks for having me.
Let's go ahead and talk about coming back this season. Like Matu, who we're going to get to a little bit later in the show, you're one of the returning Black Bears. What led you to return to Binghamton this season?
Yeah, I definitely think this is a great place to play. I mean, we have a nice arena and all that stuff, but I think when you look at the town and the history of the hockey here, it's awesome to be a part of it. I mean, as a goalie, looking at guys like Ray Emery, Robin Leonard being goalies here, and now to be a goalie here as well, I think it's pretty cool, and it's definitely just a great place to play to be here.
Two names that you mentioned, Ray Emery and Robin Leonard, both playing for the Binghamton Senators at the time. Two great guys, and God rest Ray Emery's soul, in the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, a recent inductee, I believe, in the 2021 class. Just has a rich history, was a great goaltender for the Senators at the AHL level, and coming in here, and you, Owen, and Riley, Brian, all trying to step into the same arena that some great guys who came through and do it. And I know that the locker room still has some remnants of Senators and Devil stuff. And if you haven't seen the inside of the Black Bears locker room, it is AHL, or at this rate, Arizona Coyote level of locker room based on the way that they're playing. And you mentioned about how nice the arena is, but can you give maybe the fans at home or here in the restaurant just a little insight on how nice the facilities actually are for a minor league team here in town?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. I mean, we're definitely spoiled here. I mean, as a player, like selfishly, you look at it, you have everything you need to get better on a daily basis. I mean, you've got gym, you've got a steam room, hot tubs, cold tubs, cryo. I mean, all the ice we need. And on top of it, all that stuff's really nice. So that's kind of the cherry on top. So just having all that stuff, I mean, we're really spoiled. I mean, I played on teams in high leagues higher than this, and they don't have what we have. So, yeah, we like what we have here, and we definitely try to use some gratitude and take good care of what we have because we know it's special.
From what I've talked about with the players and the few arenas that I've seen so far traveling with the team, the Veterans Memorial Arena really is the cream of the crop, and I think a lot of people have it unanimous decision as the best arena in the FPHL, and quite frankly a lot better than some arenas in the ECHL or even in the AHL. You guys are well taken care of, and you guys have some great ice to deal with now that you're out of the practice rink, and you got the dasher boards all hung up. It looks truly like a professional level of hockey environment. Let's go into the weekend a little bit with Danbury. You come in off the bench, and as a backup goaltender, you're always
one shot or one injury away from going into the game. And it's also, you're going into the game cold. You're not getting a warm-up period or anything like that. So what is that like for you on Friday, who are going in halfway to the first period, and it's like, okay, like, I got to try to keep this thing as close as we can?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of learned a long time ago that regardless if you're 1 or 2 on the sheet, you've got to be ready to go. And, I mean, when you're in the net, your team needs you regardless of the situation. So I really try to not think too much. I mean, if it's starting or not, I'm ready to go. I'm dialed in. I'm doing my pregame, kind of visualizing in between periods or before the game, and just trying to stay dialed the whole time. And when I'm in the cage, trying to help the team out.
One thing that I've always noticed watching hockey, whether the backup goaltender's on the bench or they're in a corner, depending on the bench size that varies from arena to arena, always seems that it'd be really easy for the goaltender who's not playing just to kind of doze off and kind of like lose focus. But one thing that I've noticed, whether it was you or Owen so far the year, whichever one is not playing currently at the time, is they're always following the puck, they're locked in with it, they're opening the door for guys to change, all that stuff. Is that something that you just like, hey, like, it's like, hey, like, I gotta, I'm not here just to take up space, but I'm here to do a job, and I need to stay locked in and focused because I need to be seeing, maybe you can pick up on something that the guys on the ice aren't focusing on.
Exactly, and I mean, when you got the jersey on too, like, you're in the game, so do whatever you can to help your team, and sometimes that's being quiet, but sometimes that's being vocal or letting guys know, hey, we got a D coming back, we need a D on, stuff like that. But yeah, really just trying to follow the game and pick up on the ebbs and flows, so if you do get in there, you're ready to go.
So press and rewind a little bit, and actually not a little bit, a lot of it. You grew up in Fort Worth, Texas, correct, or in that neck of the woods?
Yep.
So what's the youth hockey scene down in the Dallas area? Because I think a lot of people might not know what it's like, hockey down south. I mentioned on the broadcast Nikita playing with time with the Junior Hurricanes down in North Carolina for a little bit, and the youth program where I'm from wasn't as big when I was growing up as it is now as a young adult. But for you as a kid, what was it like in Dallas, where probably not a lot of people, one, play hockey, or two, had even been to a Dallas Stars game?
Yeah, I'm a 95 birth year, so the Stars winning the Cup in 99, that is obviously big for the area and getting youth hockey started. But like, when you look at the guys who have played, I mean, Seth Jones is just 1 year older than me, and Blake Coleman's just 2 years older. So growing up, there weren't a lot of guys to kind of look up to, and now for the younger group coming along, those guys are there. But it wasn't really that popular. But I think the group that we had, they really love the game, and our coaching staffs in Dallas are pretty good. I think we've turned out a pretty good product from my age on out, and it's only getting stronger year by year. So it's not the most popular sport. I mean, for me, I played a lot of different sports, and pretty much everyone that played hockey in Texas played a lot of different sports. But yeah, hockey's it's definitely growing in popularity. It's growing in facilities as far as just more sheets of ice, more coaches, all that stuff, and excited to see what it looks like in another 10, 15 years.
Did you have to travel a lot out of the state of Texas as a kid growing up playing hockey? I'm assuming, at your travel age level, you start to get older, maybe when you get to middle school or high school, have to imagine that, you're truly leaving home and you're going to different areas to play against good competition, elevating your game to the next level. But that also means that, hey, you're also going away from home a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like starting U12 AAA, if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, you pretty much go out of town every other weekend, and it's definitely stressful on the school and everything. But when there's 10 great teams at your age, and you're one of the 10, and the rest of them are 1,000 miles away, I mean, you end up traveling a lot, logging a lot of miles, and you kind of learn at that young age if this was what you want to do. I mean, it's time-consuming. It can be stressful, but at the end of the day, you want to play at the best level you can, and I was fortunate. Yeah, we just had the one AAA team or 2 AAA teams, but we went all over the country playing the other top guys at our level, yeah.
Went the NCAA route and played at Bethel University, correct? The Royals?
Yes, sir.
What's the college game like from
Division One that gets publicized on television to Division III. Now, as a person who didn't play a Division I sport in college, I was at the club level, but we would scrimmage or have exhibition games against Division II, Division III schools, and either win or hang with them the entire time. How different is it from maybe a college hockey game that somebody would see on TV versus what you guys were living day in and day out throughout the school year?
Yeah, D3 hockey, it's a lot of the scheduling's different. You just play Friday, Saturday, so definitely get and you play a lot fewer games. But as far as level of play, I got to shout out my school real quick. They just beat the USA under-18s, and that team was undefeated against every NCAA team they played this year, including the D1 teams.
Well, there you go.
And Vestal was able to beat them 4-2, so that was a big win for the program. Definitely happy to be an alum from there. And
shout out the Royals.
Shout out, and it just goes to show the level of play. D3, D1. I mean, there's really good players in both, and you never know when they get on the same sheet of ice. Anything can happen, right? So definitely a high level of play. Really well coached team. A lot of guys pulling in the same direction, trying to win games.
So after your time with the Royals at Bethel University, you decide to go pro, spend some time in the SP, find your way to Binghamton. What's the biggest difference from NCAA hockey to pro level hockey?
Yeah, I would say the biggest adjustment is, the number of games. As a player, you love it, right? You're playing more often, but you got to be ready to go more often. I mean, you play 25 games in college, and you play over double that in pro, and that's just the regular season. So making that adjustment, just being ready to go more often and having to go a lot longer, as far as duration of months in the season. So, yeah, that's definitely the biggest adjustment.
Hey, you're the first goalie that we've had on the Coaches Show this year, and we talk a lot about practice, but when I was talking with Coach, we're talking about special teams, gapping up defensively, making sure the defenders rotate. What's a goalie doing in practice? Because if you were just a casual fan, maybe you're just thinking, oh, the goalie's just there to stop shots. What are the goalies working on day in and day out at practice?
I think it really varies from guy to guy. I think myself personally, I try to keep 1 or 2 points of emphasis in my head about what I want to focus on that day. If it's reading plays or kind of focus on my skating, making sure like I'm completely positioned with the puck, stuff like that. So I'd say really detailed oriented type things to kind of not just make saves, but make saves easier, make saves in a way that's cleaner and can prevent rebounds and things like that. So really just staying dialed in and focusing on those details.
Well, that's good. And you talked about staying locked in during the game, whether you're on the bench, on the ice. It sounds like you're locked in during practice, making sure that you're focused on that 1 or 2 things, how you can improve to get better. Joe, thank you for your time tonight. I appreciate it. We're going to have another special guest, Matu Boislard, coming up next here on the Tully's Good Time Coaches Show. Don't go anywhere. Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Show will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along with the Binghamton Black Bears on November 15th inside Tully's on the Vestal Parkway.
It is not too late to get season tickets for this season. Prorated season tickets are on sale now, along with single game tickets and group tickets. Call the front office for more details or visit binghamtonblackbears.com.
Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Show will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along with the Binghamton Black Bears on November 15th inside Tully's on the Vestal Parkway.
It is not too late to get season tickets for this season. Prorated season tickets are on sale now, along with single game tickets and group tickets. Call the front office for more details or visit binghamtonblackbears.com.
Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suite. Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at BinghamtonBlackBears.com.
Welcome back into the Tully's Good
See you out
Time
there.
with Coach Show, now joined by Matu Boislard. And Matu, thank you for taking some time coming out with the show and being here with us tonight at Tully's.
Thanks to you guys to get me there.
Now, let's go ahead and start all the way back in the beginning. Native of Quebec up in Canada. English, not your native language, and we were just talking about it off air that French is the native tongue, and you were saying that you can really get by in Quebec and in your neck of the woods in your hometown with just speaking French, and you could be just fine.
I could be just fine. Like, actually, we got many people at home, like, got trouble with their English. I got a couple of friends at home. They will go to USA, they will go around the world, couldn't like speak great English. They can make themselves understand, which is like the important part. We learn English at home, but obviously French is our first one, and wherever you go, you'll speak French. And even for you guys, you'll go to a place when they take care of like vacation or stuff like that. You go to Montreal, Quebec City, they want to make money from you, they'll speak English, but elsewhere you might have trouble.
Okay, so it seems like maybe the tourist parts of Quebec, there's talk to you in English, and then, on the hidden gems around everything like that, everybody's speaking in French.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, were you learning English in school, or was it that, oh, hey, like I have teammates and they're speaking English, I'm speaking French, and I'm picking up on what they're saying maybe at practice?
I got friends who are speaking English a little bit maybe at home, but most of it is from the school actually. When I go to my high school, I couldn't even speak English. Like I was so bad I could laugh at word because I thought it was something else in French. And we were watching Simpson, like my primary school. We were watching Simpson trying to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, so it
That's
was
a good
so
story.
bad. But since I was in hockey with my program at high school, I got the artist English, so that's why I built on it. And like in secondary 5, I was like starting to get real better in English.
Okay, well, it seems that, obviously your English has gotten better as you've gotten older through high school, through secondary school, post-graduation, juniors, pros, everything like that. It seems that, you pick up on your teammates and it becomes more part of your dialect. And I think you could probably say that the amount of English that you can speak now is years ahead of what it was back when you were in high school, when you were just getting there.
Obviously, like even just last year when I come up here, I come here in January, and it wasn't perfect. Guys were saying words in the locker room. I couldn't even understand what it was, and they were making fun of me. And even like right now, the difference is also like in society. Like I asked last week, what was Fargo's well to Jurich, and all the guys started laughing at me.
Fargo as well. That's a good one.
I didn't even know what it was. So like, it's not even like bank. It's like the society. It's not even the language. But my girlfriend can tell you I really improved like only with 1 year.
Well, that's good. It seems that also it's good that you have guys who are willing to help you out, or significant others, everything like that. A big team camaraderie for the guys. And talked about coming back. You played in around 30, 35 games last year, regular season for the Black Bears. Played in all 3 of the playoff games. What's the difference between a playoff game and a regular season game in terms of the actual gameplay on the ice?
Yeah. The biggest difference I'll say is the fear. The fear, because you never know. We play like best of 3, which is like really short. And you know that after this 3 games, your season is done. So like on the ice, each play can make the difference. So like in first period, you can like maybe, okay, let's say you drop 1 play, that's fine. But like as long as the game is come up, you can make this mistake because they will end your season. And I think that's the fear, the biggest difference.
Well, we have a long way to go before we have to worry about the playoffs. The playoff situation or scenarios still being worked out. The league goes from 7 teams to 10. Obviously, things are going to change, and now with divisions back in the FPHL, the Black Bears playing in the Empire Division, currently in 2nd place behind Danbury. They're taking on Elmira, who is currently in 5th place, but as we talked about with Coach earlier in the show, that Elmira is going to be a completely different team. And you were actually one of the few players now on the team who didn't play with against Elmira opening weekend. What does it mean for you to now actually have a spot back in the lineup, and it's like for you, it's a new team, but for everybody else, they've seen them before.
The biggest difference is I don't know what to expect. Of course, I've seen the scoreboard. I watched the game on YouTube, but you can't really like build like expectation from what you saw on the internet. And also, like just like you said, they got new players. It's gonna be a whole different game, and you need to prepare yourself as if it's a different team, especially in that league. Like week by week, team are changing. You got players returning. You got like players that they just signed, so whole different team. I'm just expecting a really good team, just like we take with Danbury.
Sounds like a lot of like you got to expect the unexpected coming through with guys rotating through the locker room, new guys coming to the lineup. You're getting your first opportunity to play against them this season on Friday and Saturday night. For fans who want to watch or listen to the game, they can watch on YouTube and they can listen live on Fox 1430 or on the iHeartRadio app here in the Southern Tier neck of the woods. Let's talk a little bit off script, not a hockey question. Every day I've seen you so far, you're always wearing a Philadelphia 76ers hat.
Yeah.
Are you a Sixers fan, or is it more just for style?
It's not even for style. It's not for the team. I'm basically a bandwagon because of James Harden.
So you're a big James Harden guy.
Oh yeah, I like the way he play. So I got a Houston Rockets hat. I got also a Brooklyn Nets hat. Trust me,
you have all the stops.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, big James Harden guy. If you weren't playing hockey,
yeah.
What sport would you be playing?
I would like to say basketball, but obviously with my shape, football will be a better option. A couple of coach asked me back in the days to play football since I got a good shape for that. So I think
checks out.
Football.
Checks out. As someone who's been a high school sports coach, I could see you passing as a tight end or a wide receiver out there, and you could probably play outside linebacker too. With as big as physical you are, you have a lot of hits credited to your name. Not afraid to drop the mid, stand up for a teammate. We saw that this past weekend in Danbury. But let's talk about the offensive production. You come charging down the ice and you get your first goal of the season. Take us through the play and what's going through your head.
So basically, I'm just waiting on top. I see Mac Lewis coming at the blue line, and I'm just getting ready. I'm expecting a pass maybe in the middle. So there's a missed pass. It goes in the corner. And from what I saw from the goaltender, he was not even against the post. So I just tell myself, I always got a good shot from that one, taking a good wrist shot. So I just see the spot, try to get it through. And as soon as I get to the net, I see it was in, and just be happy from it.
The good news is you already tied your goals from last year.
Yep.
And the next one that you score, you'll have gone up in goal production by 100%.
Yeah.
So that's something to put on your resume. Matu, thank you for taking the time and joining me here tonight.
Thanks to you.
Coach Gill is going to come back on. We're going to wrap it up. We also have our live drawing for the team signed hat that the guys took care of earlier this week at practice, and one lucky fan here in Tully tonight is going home with a team signed hat. Make sure you come out to the next coaches show on November 16th for your chance to win another team signed item. Again, thanks to Matu Boislard. Coach Gill coming back up after these messages. Fans, the Binghamton Black Bears will return home once again for Military Appreciation Weekend on November 11th and 12th against the Motor City Rockers. All veterans and active military members can claim a free ticket either from the box office or on the third floor hockey suites.
Military families can also purchase discounted tickets for only $10. Get your tickets now at binghamtonblackbears.com, and we can't wait to see you out here. Black Bear fans, the next Tully's Good Times with Coach Show will be on November 15th. That's right, November 15th, right here at Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. Make sure you come in for the great food and stay for the good times along with Coach Gill and some very special players. It's a great opportunity to come out, meet the entire team, get some pictures, and maybe some autographs along the way too. Come join me, Brooks Hill, and head coach Gary Gill along.
I'm Brooks Hill, joined by Coach Gary Gill once again. And Coach Gill, we got to hear from a goaltender tonight and a defenseman, a little bit of unique perspective as we've been talking a lot to goal scorers here the past couple of weeks on the Coaches Show. What's the one big thing that you guys are working on this week in practice to make sure that it's going to be executed against the Elmira Mammoth coming up this weekend?
Just taking care of all three zones. Job responsibilities, making sure that if we're in a forecheck, we're forechecking hard. If we're in the D zone, we're taking care of that zone, having pride in our game. So that's our big thing, just having pride in our game.
Having pride in the game for the Black Bears will be the big thing that they are working on this week at practice. They still have some special teams working out on a Wednesday, and then Thursday a skate, and then a Friday travel to Elmira, not too far down the road out on Highway 17. We'd love to see some Black Bear fans like last time make the trip down the road. It always helps to see the fans dressed in the black and green. Before we close things out here tonight, while we were at break, we went through and we have picked the lucky winner for the team's signed hat. If they will just come up and approach the table, once we end the show, we will get you all squared away once we just see the number verification. And tonight's lucky number is 15. 15. 15 is the lucky winner for the team signed hat. We will have another team signed issue item on the November 16th edition of the Tully's Good Times with Coach Show. The next time the Black Bears are back here in town will be November 11th and 12th. It's Military Appreciation Weekend. All veterans and active military members receive free admission to the games by visiting the third floor hockey offices to claim your ticket starting tonight. So come in tomorrow morning. We'll get you squared away. Military families can also purchase tickets at a reduced rate of $10. For Coach Gary Gill, Josh Williams on the 1s and 2s tonight, I'm Brooks Hill signing off from Tully's on the Vestal Parkway. We will talk to you again Friday night on Fox 1430 for the Elmira Mammoth squaring off against the Binghamton Black Bears. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.